just to announce that we are starting in 2 to 3 minutes, maximum of 3 minutes.
Shame.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of women in the salt industry in Ada and the Socialist Forum of Ghana, I'd like to welcome all of you to this media encounter. The Socialist Forum of Ghana is only facilitating this event, and our concern is to bring to light the plight of our mothers and sisters, our daughters, and so on, who have been engaged in the struggle for their life over many years. These are women who are industrious. These are women who are winning salt. These are women who have responsibilities, social responsibilities, economic responsibilities, and so on. Over a very long period of time, their rights have been trampled upon. They've been abused, they've been tortured, even some have died as a result of the establishment wanting to push them out of areas where they have operated for at least 500 years. We are organizing this encounter to enable the women to tell their own story in the hope that it would attract attention and galvanize the forces for change, the forces that stand on the side of the oppressed, so that eventually we can achieve victory and relieve these gallant women of the burden which has been imposed upon them by this unjust society. Today is not a day for the Socialist Forum of Ghana. Today is not a day for any of us. Today is a day for women in struggle, and they will tell their own story. What we're going to do is that we're going to show a very short documentary on the struggles of the women. The documentary should not last more than 10 minutes. And thereafter, the representative of the women, Reverend Sophia, would make a statement on behalf of the women. And then the Women's Wing of the Socialist Forum of Ghana would also make a statement. And after that, we will have a question and answer session. And indeed, all media houses which are interested in telling the story of the women can have access to the women. This evening, we'll be engaged in another media encounter at Pan-African Television. So it is my pleasure, on behalf of the Socialist Forum, and also on behalf of women in the salt industry in Adan, to welcome all of you to this media encounter. And please let me also announce that the convener of the Socialist Forum of Ghana, Comrade Chichiru Poku, is here with us, along with others. Nanayao, who is the secretary to the standing committee, is also here. Jerry Tete, member of the standing committee, is here, and so on. And our women are also here in their numbers. So welcome to this media encounter, and we are going to start with the 10-minute documentary. I don't know whether the ladies will have to vacate their seats for now, or you can show it.
Right, it's okay.
So 10-minute documentary.
Resources. The major question to ask is, how has these resources benefited the people who live in the community where these resources are located? Via Dam Lagoon is a major resource plunder. Yikachemen, the brave women, a group of women committed to ensuring that the heritage of salt winning is not lost in the current generation, have had to endure many struggles. In 1985, a protest by the community on the alleged privatization of the lagoon led to the shooting of a pregnant woman named Margaret Kuwanu, who later died in her mother's home. Could not guarantee that these resources are not taken away from them. A new development at Shapo, tanker owners, is currently creating a new struggle. In time past, people could go into the lagoon and win how much they could, but with the introduction of a Achapo makes it difficult for the women to access the lake for salt. Thus, the women are now reduced to carrying of loads for the owners of this Achapo. The The women are paid 1 cedi for carrying a basket of salt. Eager to be committed to the struggle, the women have devised many simple struggle. Example: stick, stone, and leaf. Stick for non-concerned members of the society, which sometimes include MMDC, MP, and some government officials. Stone for those who are sitting on the fence, including traditional authority. It's to be noted that the traditional authority has once signed an attestation for the changing of the PNDC law. Leave for people who are affected by the struggle and are mainly in support of the women. Through advocacy, the women have been able to mobilize a lot of community members to understand the situation and the new challenge they face, which is an attempt of privatization by government. These further developments would increase the already difficult situation which the communities have in accessing the lagoon. There's about 42 communities along the lake. The Yikachamen have leaders in each community, with their members numbering into the thousands. These women are committed and prepared to fight against any exploitation.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the short documentary on the plight of women in the salt industry in Adan. Because you can't tell all the story in 10 minutes. They will tell their own story. I would now like to invite the leaders of the women in the salt industry in Adan to take their seats. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for the women to tell their own story. Various organizations, various political parties and so on have often made statements about their commitment to the struggles of women for emancipation and so on. How did we hear of commitment to the struggles of gallant women like this? We are struggling to survive like all people. The struggle of the gender movement, the struggle for sexual equality and so on, also ought to find expression in the concrete struggles of women like these. And we want to salute these women for their gallantry and so on. We'd now like to invite Reverend Sophia Ogeko Kicha, who is the spokesperson of the women, to tell the story of the women.
Before we start, we want to let you be part of our slogan. So when I say Yikachamen, then you say Wamasi. Brave women, we are there. Yikachamen,
Wamasi,
Yikachamen,
Wamasi,
Yikachamen,
Wamasi,
Ode,
Opio,
Kemansu,
Emahi.
The women are brave. They fear no foe. They are not intimidated. Even though majority of them are illiterate, they know a lot about the lagoon. And they know the law governing the lagoon. And so they are ready to tell their story. Adan Songo Salt Women's Association, ASWA. The Dangbe name is Yikacheme, which means Brave Women of the Songo Lagoon. Their theme is Songo Salt is a livelihood for all. The Yikacheme are small-scale artisanal salt miners in the Adan Songo Lagoon communities. They are affirming and validating that the Songo Salt Lagoon is a rich God-given natural resource that affords a livelihood for all. On the 12th June of this year, there was a visit by the Traditional Council to the presidency, and the women heard something. What did they hear? They heard that the Traditional Council was seeking to hand over this rich resource, which they gain their livelihood from, to an investor or investors. And so what they have observed is that there is a force trying to limit their communal access to the salt lagoon. 32 years ago, when Margaret Kuwan was killed, that is exactly what happened. They were denied access into the lagoon. And that is going to be repeated again. They also realize that the conservation of the rich natural resource is being tampered with. It is a tourist attraction and a relic to the unborn generation. The process of giving it to an investor is to diminish their livelihood and also prevent the sustainability of this resource. They know something. No, Polio. They know something. And what do they know? They know the law, PNDC Law 287. In particular, the clause says the government is holding the resource in trust for the Adans. So we have a peculiar mineral law, which means that the government is holding this resource in trust for us. And they are saying they will develop it for the benefit of the 45 contiguous communities and then public interest. If they want to do anything, the women should be in the know. The community members should be in the know. Unfortunately, that has not been done. All they heard was in the news. And so they are saying that since this law is in place, the government needs to consult them and let them be part of what they are going to do. Accountability of royalties accrued over the years since 1992 has not been accounted for. And so if they want to develop it, why go in for an investor? When salt mining is just natural. You don't need so much investment. Maybe the only thing that would need to be done is our processing if we want to do exports. The women also want the entire nation to know that the job opportunities in the small-scale artisanal mining is overwhelming, employing over 60,000 people directly, and then 2 million people indirectly. Profits accrued from the small-scale artisanal mining is normally used in the community and invested locally, naturally benefiting the community and having a positive effect in the communities. Unfortunately, the women are saying various governments, not only the present government, continue to sideline the small-scale artisanal miners, neglecting the development of this industry, which can make billions. Salt is just a minute part of it. But this is a relic, a natural resources that we normally get fish. It's a breeding site for fish. It's also a habitat for birds and wildlife. It's also a place that breaks waters when there is flooding. It's also a place that produces reeds for the women. It's an aquaculture lagoon, producing fish, crabs, lobsters, and the others. Unfortunately, the government, in their era of saying employment, they are creating employment, continue to sideline the small-scale miners. They have been part to the signatory of the African mining policy. They have been part to the signing of the ECOWAS mining policy. And so why is it that the artisanal small-scale miners are sidelined? The women are saying profits that are accrued normally from the local elites and the international elites whom they want to have an affair with, it's normally transferred as compared to the local people. The women are recommending the need for active participation in dialoguing with the people, especially the women in the contiguous communities around the Songo Salt Lagoon, so that they would have a say in what they want to do. Since we heard of the investors who are coming, they will also want the government to provide facilities for people to also air their ideas, because the dynamic of small-scale mining is something they have in their fingertips. And so they want to be part of the social, economic, and political development of this resource. Finally, the women are saying the rich resource is God-given. It belongs to the ancestors who are dead. It belongs to you and I. And it belongs to the unborn generation. So the women are water resource protectors. The women are protecting their livelihood. The women are saying they are concerned they should be part of the discussion of this development. And then finally, everybody should have a livelihood out of this relic. We believe the world will hear what we are saying. We believe our country will hear what we are saying. And we believe our traditional council members will also will hear what we are saying. And they will realize that the tomb is up. We are doing our work. Thank you, colleagues, and God bless you all.
Colleagues and friends, this is the story of the women of Adan in Struugle. And it is clear that they are not just fighting for their own livelihood, they are also fighting for the conservation of the environment, the preservation of the environment. And they are also fighting against impunity and the rule of law. You have heard them. It is now time to take a solidarity message from the Women's Wing of the Socialist Forum of Ghana. And thereafter, we shall make the microphone available for questions and answers. So, Roseanne Anna, leader of the Women's Wing
This is a solidarity statement from the Women's Wing of the Socialist Forum of Ghana. The Socialist Forum of Ghana stands in solidarity with the Ikeme of Adan. These women are citizens of Adan and land of Ghana. They represent women in 42 communities of the Adan-Songo Lagoon, fighting to revive and protect sensible, ancient, and constitutionally recognized customary right to harvest salt from the Songo Lagoon to sustain their families and develop their communities. they face half a century of corporate states, schemes to dispose them, to enrich them, connected with seeking private business men. The Struugle is a natural salt production lagoon. Nobody, not government, not companies, not Adan chiefs and the Adan people are responsible for its natural attributes or productivity. The issue is purely what are the most appropriate, fair, and productive arrangements for the development of the people whose livelihoods depend on these resources. Struugle is a material basis for the Adan civilization. The Adan people have worked and conserved Struugle resources for nearly 500 years. They have learned in this period to manage Struugle in ways that have balanced wealth creation with the natural salt production capacity of the lagoon in consonance with the other economic and environmental values. The Adan people have always been willing to share their resources with other people and contribute to the larger national projects. For example, they cheerfully absorbed the impact of the Volta River hydroelectric project in the 1960s, which gave electricity to all Ghanaians. Even though this massively weakened the salt industry, they managed the lagoon as a collective open resources, imposing no barriers on salt mining by non-Adan people. The social forces that gained control of the Ghanaian state through the 1966 and counter-revolutionary coup d'etat are committed to the capitalist development and to the privatization of all communal resources and national assets, and handing them over to profit-driven corporations associated with whatever section of our neo-colonial elite are in government. This, in fact, directs continuation of the colonial attack on African development, which has revived and intensified steadily since 1966. While this has been especially evident under government of the UN NPP tradition, all other ruling formations have also promoted private over collective interest of the Adan people and Ghanaians. Since 1970, so-called investors have waged a steady war on the people of the Adan Struugle to take over the lagoon and force the local people to work for them. Tactics employed by these individuals deceive, perjury, threats, torture, state-sponsored terrorism, and even murder. The inevitable result of these concession policies has been the enrichment of a handful of individuals of the internment of hundreds of thousands of our people, the undermining of communities, and the reckless destructions of the Struugle resources. The people of Adan have resisted this occupation of their resources, manufacturing and managing over the years. In 1970 to 71, through fraudulent process, superintended by the Progress Party government, the MP for Adan, elements in the Adan Traditional Council, and the Capital Investment Board, predecessor of JIPC, the Busia government gave a concession over most of the Struugle lagoon to a company called Vacuum Salt Products Limited, VSPL. The company, however, found it unable to impose capitalist production in the Struugle because of the Adan principle that allowed everybody willing to work to mine and sell salt for themselves. The SPL could not add people to work for it when they imported workers from Florida and other places. These two quickly abandoned their jobs and went to work for themselves alongside the Adan people. The only way the SPL could secure wage labor and thus profit was thus to completely cut off communal access to the lagoon. VSPL thus declared that entire villages had stood for hundreds of years on the edge of the lagoon were now suddenly trespassers on VSPL's concession. With state political, legal, and logistical support, VSPL began to harass, arrest, and torture people simply for living on their own ancestral lands. In 1985, the Ghana Police Force, acting on behalf of the VSPL, mounted a massive armed attack on the Adansongo communities. This utterly provoked attack resulted in injuries to many innocent people and the cold-blooded murder of a pregnant woman, Margaret Cohen. Following this attack, the PNDC government of the day set up a commission of inquiry to investigate the violence and the recommendations for the peaceful development of the Songo. The PNDC nationalized VSPL and established Songo Salt Company Limited, ASSCL, to hold former VSPL assets. It declared its intention to restore local production rights and enhance productivity through a scheme provoking a publicly financed mechanized seas inlet and new barren concentration pounds that could increase production from 300,000 MT to 1.2 million MT per year. It also promised development of several downstream industries such as hydrolyzation and caustic soda, which could allow equitable industrial economic growth in the area. This drive was to have led by GNPC working with the Adansongo Cooperative Salt Mining Society Limited, the then umbrella body for the many cooperatives that then organized ancestral artisanal salt production in the Songo. It would also have invested in shrimp and other aquaculture and in an export at the Volta estuary. GNPC proposed to recover its investment from the sale of industrial salt to Nigeria's proposed petrochemical complex. In the context of the promised investment, the cooperative agreed to limit their geographical scope. Work indeed concerned and a master plan for Songo was developed by GNPC and the cooperative with the support from Cuban technical experts. Unfortunately, forces in around PNDC actively sabotaged this master plan and worked to revert to economic capital solution which would accommodate a new rate of favored business people. GNPC all but demolished as a nationalist enterprise by the NDC in the 1990s and then utterly crippled by the Kufuor government. All that survived by the PNDC promise was a barbaric non-viable ASSCL. The situation continued to deteriorate over the years. At present, Songo women have been reduced from independent cooperative producers to casual laborers on their own land. As a cooperative producers, they could realize the full benefits of 80 cedis per a bag of salt for themselves and their dependents. As casual laborers, now they are forced to accept 1 cedi per a bucket of salt and work under much harsher conditions. They receive no health care, no pensions, no job security, no child care support, or other benefits from this work. They are unable to direct the wealth generated from salt mining into their communities and into the full optimization of the Songo, let alone the many possible private industries it offers. The bulk of the value that their work creates is pocketed by so-called investors as profit. Ikamache have lobbied and campaigned to bring attention to this ridiculous and state of affairs in Nada and in Accra. The latest development is that the NPP has allegedly handed over the Ada Songo Salt Company concession to the Magdan Group, suggesting that a new phase in the struggle has just opened. Yikachame are unfazed and are willing to continue their struggle against any odds. They must not be left to stand alone. They have received no support from either the Ada East Assembly or the media other than Radio Ada, which has been a stand supporter of the Ada people for the last 20 years. It is time for change. Now, SAD has committed to educate and agitate alongside our sisters for justice and for shared property. We call all political parties to commit publicly to ending the exploitation and exploitation of other communities and commit to a program that A. restores the traditional rights of the Ada people over the Songo Lagoon. B. supports domestic management of these resources through cooperatives that give all women and men equal say. And I repeat, all women and men equal say and benefits in the management of the Songo resources. Invest public resources to optimize and improve long-term productivity of Songo resources, salt-winning, aquaculture, transportation, tourism, environmental services, and religious practice, starting by revising the old master plan, which was approved by all stakeholders, including private investors, back in the mid-1990s. D. Provide the Ada cooperative through the East Ada District Assembly with the services such as banking, commercial, and technical education required to ensure that surplus generated from the exploitation of the lagoon are applied back into shared prosperity in Ada. We call on the citizens of Ada to mobilize to bring more pressure to bear on their assemblies, on their MPs, and on their traditional councils to declare support for Yei Chame and their agenda. Each institution should be made to understand that by withholding their support, they delegitimized their claim to leadership in Ada, and they must understand that the people will remember. We call on activist groups, especially those working on natural resources rights and gender justice, to renew their campaigns. The Songo struggle is strategic for both. We call on media houses that support public interest journalism to research and practice the Songo problem. Radio Ada has wealth of information on this struggle and has always been willing to share it and to help mobilize people to support justice for the people of Ada. SFG remains firmly convinced that at the end of the day, the exploitation of natural resources by foreign and indigenous cooperative interests can only be resolved sustainably by the demanding of capitalist profit system by the people and the installation of an alternative system that puts human life above profits, the needs of the many above the greed of the few, and that extends the principles of domestic state governance into the economic sphere. And we promise to be available night and day to support working people and commercial interests, protect themselves against oppression and repression. Finally, we say, long live Yei Chekame. Long live Yei Kachame. Long live the cooperative movement. Long live socialism. And long live SFG. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now question time. And as we indicated from the beginning, the spotlight is on the women in struggle. And we will be very happy if your questions questions are directed to the leadership of the women in the struggle, the women in the salt industry in Adama. They are the focus of this encounter. So it's question time, and we will take 3 questions at a time. So if you want to raise a question, just put up your hand and then we will call you. And you can come to the microphone. If you have a strong voice, you can ask your question wherever you are. So it's question time. Any questions? I see 1. Any more? 3 questions at a time. Okay, sir, can we have your question?
Good afternoon. I am Ketri Baby from Classic Media, Accra FM. I just want to find out if, apart from inciting the youth to mobilize in the fight for this struggle so that the women in struggle, your grievances could be met, are you prepared to take any legal actions? And if you are prepared to do that, when exactly do you want to take this action so that you can get back what you are fighting for? Thank you.
If you stop with you can chairman, secretary. Yes, we can take the youth. We have to take them to court if they don't compromise with us. Because it is the youth who are now operating the Achian poll system, which we the women have to carry the salt for them 1 cedi for per bucket. So they are also, we may say they are also our enemies because they are also depriving us from our livelihood. Thank you.
Any more questions? Any question? I see 1 hand there, I see another hand here, and I see another hand here. So we're going to do 1, 2, and 3.
Good afternoon. I'm Emmanuel. I just want to ask, I heard your story and I think it's very sad. I want to know, though I've been there before, I've seen how you people have been working very hard. And I know how Radio Adam also is doing. But I want to know why is it that can't you come to Accra and also at least the platforms, the radio stations can also give you some platform for you to the information. I don't know what is happening because the leaders is like whatever you are doing then I think this is the first time I've heard of this if it wasn't this program. So what are you doing about the information to hit, you should hit hard these leaders so that they can hear your struggle? Because it's like Radio Ada is the only one doing this struggling for you people, and I don't think PCFM and other stations you hear of all these things. So what are you doing about it? Thank you.
Well, let's take all the 2 questions. The second question, yes, please. Short.
Thank you very much. My name is Tamid, SMG. Now, I would want to find out from you, since of course there is always strength in numbers, whether you are in some form, or you will be, and I think you should, if you are not, be in some form of collaboration with people or women facing similar issues in some other salt winning communities. because I believe that an aggregation of the struggle by itself will amplify the voices behind some of these. Because once you have the numbers, then you can form some kind of an opinion. So I want to find out from your organization whether you have any plans of collaborating with other women's groups who are facing similar situations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. My name is Kamali. Many people are watching this at the moment. They may not be in Ghana, they may be in different places around the world. They will say, the women in Ghana are in struggle. How do we help you? How people who are watching now can get in touch with you, give you support either from Ghana or from around the world around your issue?
To the first question. To the first question of amplifying our voice in the other media organization, we have done that in the year 2018. We were here, but precisely we used the SNITS Center. We invited so many media houses. And concurrently, as we were doing the press statement, we did a demonstration. It was also telecasted. We continue to do forums, talking about what the group stands for. And it is also telecasted by the various media houses. So we've been doing it. But we have realized that our governments continue to be stubborn. And they prefer when they are in the political season. 4 years ago, when we did that, immediately the Minister of Trade had to consult us to calm down our tone so that they will look into our issue. Unfortunately, they were kicked out as a government. And so whatever they promised could not come in. Again, we are talking. And we believe as we talk, the Traditional Council, the Assembly will be shaking in their state. Because after on the 12th June, you know, when they visited the presidency, we have been so quiet. Community members have called us to ask us what we are doing as a women's group. The reply was, they are also men. They are also community members. The lagoon concerns them, so they should talk. Unfortunately, they continue to intimidate the women. They continue to threaten them. Our president was threatened severally, to the extent that where she was even selling her food, she had to be sacked from them. But we are not scared of them. We are crossing. There is a storm, there is a wind, but that is where we are going. So we've been doing that. But like you said, we need to hammer that seriously. Left, right, center, and in the middle. That is why we are here today. Thank you. The second question, my sister will want to say it in Dangwe, and then I will translate it. So our president will say, are there any other women organizations? Yes, there are, and so she will talk about anything.
You know, I tell Mary Akute, I'm G. Kache, a president of. You know, what can be Wahana will be assuming, the Wakame Chabunya, Bandi, Waka Nifu Chabunya, Ketabi, name and whom as Simen, no Wakame Chabunya, Lo Waka Nifu Chabunya, Kwai Wakame Chabunya, Waka Nifu Chabunya, then I pay no Wamun, ne Ayas, ne Anbekao. Let's go. Was never done, no one let you. One much of my way. The men has a cotton scape like a lani. It's a Kajaka, one in a minute, the mumbo, and ye, ne advance on no. Tina will be no that's mono. Oh, I have a song now. It's a Kawaii, a pretty pay walk about you. Loco Afia Magitu, ne at Be Magi, Loco Suba Paleka Babado, and I know you Mogate Singer. Da, when you mean like me. Loco Suba Paleka Babado. The next song on the Apretito, Machanamana was songo. Kenha,
ne pio ne abange no mi maka ana pomla ne friso ngo ke hawo mi o jabia wa ne me jama bio wa ne me abe se mahi ne bolisongo ne ji mai mi wie ka enu ne bolisongo mere ho nga me ye ke abime ne atekasi loko songo pa se na pa ka ba yo ragbi loko songo pa ke ba e no lo wa yo wa singo ne lo wa ka ni fu chabonya ne anu wa ki ye pe no.
So indeed, we are in collaboration with a lot of women's organizations and mineral groups. We have a coalition called National Coalition of Mining Organization. And so we have a lot of other groups. And I believe our colleagues are watching us. Those in Obuasi, Takwa, in Bolga, Bani, those in Kate. Thank you very much.
We will allow two last questions. Two last questions. I see a lady here. Anybody else? Okay, so that would be our very last question, Madam.
This is actually a build-up on the first question the gentleman asked, as to if you are intending on carrying out any legal actions. Now you have made mention of all the collaborations you have made so far, but have any of the organizations offered legal support? Because then, like you said, the government is very stubborn. But then, if you decide to take this up in court, it's you against the state. And we don't know what the outcome might be, but I see a positive light. So have any of the organizations come up with this idea of supporting you for a legal action? If they haven't, have you considered reaching out to organizations that reach out to women, provide legal assistance to them, actually help them go out there in court and sue their government if they're oppressing them? So I'd like to know this.
Legal action is the last resort. As mothers, we continue to look at dialogue. That is what we've been doing. And indeed, there is a group we are partnering with. They are in Canada. They have been able to do that. And so we have learned from them. And what are we looking at? The United Nations Declaration on Indigenous Rights. That is the only thing that we do. Indigenously, they have the right to be there. Indigenously, the resource is with them, and so they need to benefit. When we take them to Hague, they will be in trouble. But we don't want to go there. We want to dialogue and then look at what they will do. But that will be the last resort. The women are brave.
heard about their struggles. We've heard about the impunity that surrounds the salt industry in Ghana. We've heard about the fact that they are courageous and they will never give up. They will fight until final victory. At this stage, there are two things that we are going to do. These brave women are available for interviews. The stations which want to interview them can do that now, when we break. And at the same time, we will also be serving some very light refreshments. So we can mail around a bottle of Coke or whatever, whilst we raise questions to these gallant women for broadcast. On behalf of the women, on behalf of the Socialist Forum of Ghana, we'd like to thank you very, very much for showing up today. We want to believe that your presence here pushes us to a new dimension in this legitimate struggle of the people of Ghana, especially the women in the salt industry. Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you very, very much.
Yes.